What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the second episode of Titans Talk 615 podcast. Again, if you know me, my name is your host, Jackson Weber. Appreciate y'all tuning in once again. Folks, last week, huge episode, big episode. Again, I just want to say I appreciate y'all for all the support. It means a lot to me personally, and I know that a lot of y'all who are listening right now are going to keep tuning in, and it's also me great because a lot of y'all are going to see me grow every single week. So again, appreciate y'all for tuning in. Got a big episode again, like last week. We talked about Cam Ward, talked about his spark, 5 players who stood out to camp. Now, again, we're in the second week before in July when things start to ramp up again. Today we're going to talk about, will the Titans succeed 5.5 more games or less? Because Vegas came out saying the Titans are going to win 5.5 games. So I'm like, well, let's take a look at the schedule. Let's see what we have right now. I'm not going to predict the whole schedule right now. I'm just going to say what I think what's going to happen and talk about it. We got some news we got to talk about. I'm also going to say, is L'Jarius Sneed a factor for the Titans this year? This is a big piece that we got to talk about here, y'all. We're going to talk about the defense, and again, Cam Ward. I got a video from ESPN that I do want to play for y'all at the end. And also, to kick it off, I got a special guest coming on next week. So I got our first guest of the Titans Talk 615 podcast will be out next week. So tune in next Sunday. And then especially after this podcast, go and check out my Instagram, Titans.talk615 on Instagram. That's where I'm going to announce the special guest. So if y'all want to follow me on Instagram, go and check out right now because that's the only way you're going to find out. It's the only way you guys are going to find out. I'm not sharing it to anyone. I'm not sharing it anywhere else. Go ahead and check Instagram out. If you already know me, then I'll probably just tell you another day. So the Titans on Wednesday announced that they're going to have some training camp. They finally announced their training camp days. So I told y'all about the 26th, July 26th. That's going to be at Nissan Stadium, presented by SeatGeek. You can get your free tickets now. You can get up, I don't know how many tickets it is. I got my 2 tickets. I'm going to be there with my dad. So we're going to go on the 26th. Now, however, they announced on the 23rd, 24th, 29th, and the 30th, and also Saturday, August 2nd, and Wednesday, August 6th. Those 6 days I just mentioned to y'all are going to be at Titans are going to have a training camp at Station St. Thomas Sports Park. So I've never been, to the sports park in Nashville. I know some of y'all might have not either. This is your chance to go see the Titans before the preseason starts, before they go to Tampa. It's the time that you guys get to see the players up close, and I definitely recommend it. So if y'all haven't checked it out, definitely is your chance. So, obviously, I just mentioned the 26 tickets are up. Go ahead and claim them on SeatGeek. The 23rd and the 24th and the other days I just mentioned, go ahead and check out TennesseeTitans.com. It says on the July 9th, first come, first serve basis. Okay? I'm pretty sure they're free. I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me on that. I think that's what Teron Davenport said. So, definitely take advantage. I'm 100% going to take advantage. I might be there on the 23rd. I'm definitely going to be there. So definitely take advantage of that right now and go check those out on July 9th when they come out. So that's kind of the first news I do want to get into as of right now. NFL news, we don't have any news yet. There's nothing really coming out. Like I told y'all, this is the dead period. It's just nothing. So that's kind of the point. This is my next point. Is L'Jarius Sneed a factor for the Tennessee Titans this year? Well, Brian Callahan said that L'Jarius Sneed needs to step up this year. And I love that. I love that Callahan came out and just said that. Because L'Jarius Sneed, one of the superstars on this defense. It definitely is. But you can't come into this year with a guy who has barely played like 3 games or 4 games for you guys and expect him to be ramped back up. What you need to do is you need to be careful with him. You need to talk to him and the coaching staff. I'm a little bit worried about L'Jarius Sneed. I think some of y'all are kind of putting this under. But I'm a little bit worried because this is the guy we gave a 3rd-round pick for. This is the guy that we signed to a 4-year deal. This is the year that L'Jarius Sneed wants to continue playing a Titan. If he wants to be here still, this is the year that L'Jarius Sneed takes a big step from last year. Now, I know a lot of y'all are not familiar, maybe not familiar with L'Jarius Sneed's game. He's a guy who isn't an interception freak. He doesn't get so many interceptions. He's a guy who's great pass defender in Kansas City. He helped them beat the Super Bowl. He took care of receivers like Tyreek Hill, Jamar Chase, etc. in the playoffs. So he's a guy who's going to lock up your number ones. We haven't seen that so far of Tennessee. We need to see that this year for L'Jarius Sneed. And I definitely think Denard Wilson's going to be on him this year. I definitely think he's going to take care of it. I think this year for L'Jarius Sneed, it'll be better than last year. And definitely physical. You need to definitely take care of your physical. You need to make sure he's okay. Make sure his hamstring's right. You also need to get off the field stuff. You need to get that out of the way. Just push that out of the way. Hopefully he's taking care of that. Hopefully that's done. I mentioned that last week. It was just a horrible scenario, horrible timing. And number 3, you need to show up with a better attitude this year. Okay? You definitely need to show up with a better attitude and winning mentality this year. I think that's the problem with L'Jarius Sneed is he didn't show up that way last year. So I think he can be a factor. I just think you need to take. Also, the Tennessee Titans need to take care of him in a way that you need to switch him out a lot. And I think you're going to see definitely Jarvis Brownlee-Lee and Darrell Baker take those QB number 1 reps. You know, we're not going to put L'Jarius Sneed in that role. I think in the first game against Denver, we'll see what's going to happen. But I think we definitely need L'Jarius Sneed this year on defense. But the Titans were the highest, like the most loud points last year on defense. Titans had a top 5 defense last year. So with L'Jarius Sneed, we can probably get in the top 3 this year. So we'll see what happens. But again, I think the Tennessee Titans need him this year just to perform, just to be there every single game, just to make plays. That's what we need from him this year. Okay, I think that's what I'll expect him to be, is L'Jarius Sneed is in there making plays this year. So yes, I think it's going to be a factor. The biggest points on the Titans defense. This is hard. This is very, very hard because you got to look at the roster. It's very, very new. It's a very new roster, okay? Last week we talked about Cody Barton. I mentioned him in the linebacker room. I definitely mentioned James Williams. I definitely talked about the linebacker room. The edge group last year was kind of a little bit of a struggle. I think, personally, the Titans defense is struggling in both the edge and linebacker room. Again, we need those guys. We definitely need Barton in the linebacker room. I think is a great signing. I love his leadership. I've definitely, Callahan's gave him so many compliments. I've seen it. So I think if he's going to take the next step this year, he's going to be, I think, the main guy. We got to figure out who's going to be number 2, right? We got a guy from the Saints. Guy's name is on my head. And then you got James Williams. And you got to see what you guys got to do on that linebacker defense. But also a defensive end, you got to see, okay, what do we got to work with? We got Draymond Jones, right? You got 8.5 last year. You got Arden Key, who's got 6.5 last year. Edge might be a problem. And I won't be surprised if the Titans look in August and might pick up a guy or 2 if somebody gets cut from a team. I won't be surprised if the Titans go take a shot on somebody. Because we're at that point in August. It's probably not going to happen. But I'm just saying, you can always use depth. You can always use pieces to improve this season. I think that's what the Titans are looking for. So we'll see kind of what happens there. Now, the biggest thing this year, because a lot of people are definitely going to underestimate the Tennessee Titans. I can totally understand that. You were going from 6 games to 3 games. Now you're trying to build yourself back up from those 3 games. So it's going to take a while, y'all. I told y'all last time about my record prediction. 7-8 wins this year. I think if I'm looking through the first schedule, y'all, it is tough. First 5 weeks, you got Denver on the road, who's a great defense. Patrick Surtain's a great, great corner. He's definitely going to lock up Calvin Ridley. That's going to be dangerous week 1. They have a good run defense as well. Okay? The Rams week 2 at home. You got the Colts on the road week 3. You got the Colts at home. The Texans on the road. Arizona on the road. Vegas on the road. And then the Patriots at home. So for the first 7 weeks, you got some pretty tough teams in there. And I honestly, you can only get 2 wins in that scenario. You can get 3 wins in that scenario. You can go ahead and get 5 wins in that scenario, right? But I think the Tennessee Titans this year, again, it all makes sense if it's going to be Cam Ward or not. Because that's going to be the biggest thing this year. Is Cam Ward going to lead us to 5.5 wins? That's what you got to look at. And I personally think for the first 3 weeks, I think we're gonna go 1 out of 3, which is I'm totally okay with, or we can go 2 out of 3, which shouldn't be alarming to y'all. Again, if we somehow beat Denver, that's huge. I don't expect to beat Denver, but if we're close in that game, that's a plus for a lot of y'all, and that should be a plus for me too, right? If we're close in that game, and the Rams too. Rams, Matthew Stafford, they lost Cup, they got Devontae. They got Puka Nacua still there, Kyron Williams. I mean, they got a heck of an offense still. They got a heck of a defense. They're the team in the playoffs that competed with the Eagles the most out of everybody. That the Eagles faced, the Rams were the most competitive. So, again, that's going to be really, really tough at home. So we'll see. But I have confidence, especially against the Colts as well, because Daniel Jones might be the starter. Who knows? But, again, I think they'll win more. I just think it just depends what Cam Ward is going to produce. I think it just all depends if he's going to be the number one guy. If he's going to be the coaching staff, are we going to rely on him a lot? So I did want to play this clip from Cam Ward, and definitely let's talk about that. So I'm going to go ahead and play the clip for y'all.
Just my upbringing, not getting everything I wanted, and also just believing in God. And He's shined the light on me, and I'm blessed. Every time I get to step on the field, I'm thankful. And so I know the work I put in, I know the film I watch, I know the things I do with my receiver. So I know every day it ain't gonna be perfect, but it's about just minimizing the mistakes that you made to try to have a perfect day.
All right, y'all, we're back. Hope y'all looked at that clip, took that in. The biggest quote is that Cam Ward's not going to be perfect. He talked about that. It's about minimizing the mistakes. That's a perfect answer right there. Because you're a quarterback. You have one of the biggest tasks in the league. You can make a lot of mistakes. And Cam Ward's like, hey, I got to make sure I don't make many. I got to be careful on those mistakes. And if you make a mistake, go in there, go fix it. That's exactly what he's talking about. I love what he says, his receivers. He's in there 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning. We talked about that last time. He's in there with receivers. He's throwing. He's training. He's making sure they're ready for the season as well. So I think that's why Cam Ward, I think I like him a lot, because he's a guy who's taking the extra step. He's a guy who wants to work more harder. I talked about that last week as well. So I think if you're looking at for Cam Ward, I think there's a lot of positives right there. I think the whole video was full positive. So I hope you guys took that in. And especially shout out to Cam Ward for his faith. That's a huge thing right there. That's a huge thing I can't express enough. NFL player who has a lot of faith in himself has also a lot of faith in God. So Cam Ward, great reaction. He handles interviews really, really well. He's a guy who you look at him, he's like, if I took a guess, I think that guy's been in the league for 5 years. If I didn't know anything about him, if I'm just sitting here and I don't know anything about Cam, I'm like, that guy looks like he's been in the league for 5 years. Seriously, he gives off that mentality. So I'm hopefully you all took that in video as well. So I'm very, very glad. We'll talk a lot more Cam Ward hitting in the next couple months, but it's definitely a step ahead. All right, we're going to do something fun, y'all, at the end of this segment. We're going to do a couple more things. I'm going to end it, and we're going to go to next week. So, number one, why am I a Titans fan? That y'all might ask. Some of y'all might know me personally, and you guys know I'm from Southern California. And that's multiple reasons. Number one, I was a big fan of Vrabel. That was probably my number one big thing. I was a big fan of Mike Vrabel. Yeah, I really like what he was doing for the Titans. I really like A.J. Brown, for example, Kevin Byard, Derrick Henry. But I like the history, right? You got to look back at the history for the Tennessee Titans. This team has a lot of history. You guys don't think it does, but it does. Going back to the Houston Oilers days, which we'll talk about in a minute. So, you have guys like Eddie George, Steve McNair, Warren Moon. Those guys I really took on, watched tape, took time to watch. I really enjoyed those guys, and that was some of my favorite players back in the day. Like, I'm only young, but I like watching those guys now. I'm like, man, I wish I was alive when those guys were around, because I definitely would have had a lot of fun watching those players. But one of my first memories watching this team was, I think it was 2019 season when Corey Davis got a walk-off touchdown against the Eagles week 3. I was like, man, this team has a lot of spark. This team has a lot of energy. This team has a lot of spark. A lot of guys in the locker room were really, really hungry. And I remember that was Marcus Mariota's year where you kind of fell off. You're at the deadline, you're under 500, you're like, man, what do we do? You traded for Ryan Tannehill as a backup. And you let him start, and Tannehill goes off, and he leads you over 500 in the rest of the season. We took care of business. We lost against the Saints. I thought we were going to clinch there. But you go to Houston, you win against Houston. Oh, what a big game that was. So you destroy them on the road. One of the biggest games. They didn't care for the Texans, but cared for us. Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown. Derrick Henry had 200 yards that game. Just watching the team, I'm like, man, this team's going to be fun in the playoffs. I know they're going to be a sneaky team. I know this is going to be a team that I'm going to enjoy watching. I like those sneaky teams in the playoffs, y'all. I hope y'all do too, because it's fun. It's very, very exciting. So, that's one of the teams I wanted to watch in the playoffs. And I remember when they beat the Patriots, I was at home. A Logan Ryan interception. Walks in for the touchdown. One of the best plays I've ever watched. That was one of my favorite plays personally. and just seeing them beat the Ravens on the road with Derrick Henry throwing a touchdown to Corey Davis, not Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith got a touchdown later in that game from Ryan Tannehill. But just remember that core, that team, just makes me happy as a fan just seeing that. I definitely remember those memories. I hope y'all do too. Another thing I'm going to tell y'all is never give up on your favorite teams. Because I know a lot of y'all are like, man, when are the Titans going to win the playoffs? When are we going to go back? I love my team, man. I love this team to my heart. Do die Tennessee Titans. I love this team. Anybody who knows me, I wear their merch 24/7. I should get sponsored by the Tennessee Titans now, alright? This is a team that's done so much for me since I moved here to Nashville, and it became part of my family. And I love meeting fans. I love talking to fans. I love seeing what you guys like. I love talking to y'all. I've talked to a lot of you guys already, and hopefully during training camp I get to meet a lot of more of you guys. Hopefully there's a lot of you guys who want to say what's up, hi, whatever. Definitely want to meet a lot of you guys. I can't wait for that for training camp. So Titans became a part of my family. Okay, I just don't want to say that. I'm so thankful for y'all who are listening and watching. We're just growing as a podcast. I'm very excited to put on a mic and headset and just talk to you guys for about 15 minutes for right now. So I do want to talk to y'all about later in the season what my plan is for this podcast. So right now we're in the phase, like I told y'all earlier, we're going to go probably starting in September. We're going to film a post-game press conference, okay? It depends what the schedule is and everything like that. I might be on the road. I might film at the hotel. Who knows, right? So I'm going to put, after every single game, I have to do the time and everything like that. We'll do that later. I'm going to do a post-game reaction podcast. So that's going to be still on Sundays. And then we're going to do one in the middle of the week. So we're going to have 2 podcasts a week coming up in the middle of the season. I'm very excited for that. I'm getting paired up, geared up, saying I hope y'all enjoy as much as I do, because this means a lot to me. So next week, big episode, and I know I'm very excited to interview this person, and I know he's very, very excited as well. I'm not going to give you any hints because I don't want to spoil it, but definitely stay tuned in next Sunday at 12 Central Daylight Time. It will be out. So once again, thank y'all for listening to this great episode. I'll definitely see you guys next week. Sign up.